What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Titanfall 2, the second Titanfall 2 video in a row here on Black Tide TV, and most likely the final Titanfall 2 video you'll see on this channel. Until there's some big update, which probably won't happen. The last update for Titanfall 2 was in August. I won't be making another Titanfall video. In today's video, we've got a post-mortem, a little autopsy on the game, see why it failed, why it fell apart so quickly, which is kind of strange. It's not coming, like, there's no sequel coming out, and that's normally when I would do a post-mortem on a game. For Call of Duty, for example, every year there's a new game that comes out, and I go back and I do a post-mortem, and I look at the game and I review it more or less with a backward glance instead of looking forward to the game. When we don't know as much about the game at the beginning of the year, we look back and we're like, okay, well, what did it do right? What did it do wrong? Titanfall 2 doesn't have a sequel. There's just nobody playing this game anymore. Of course, there are the hardcore fans, but I can tell you for a fact that this game is pretty well dead. And in yesterday's video, if you missed that one, we talked about how there might not be a Titanfall 3, how there might not be a sequel. I'll link that video in the description if you haven't yet seen it. But even in just playing the game over these last 24 hours for the gameplay for these final two Titanfall videos on my channel, I can tell you that it's very, very hard to find a game. Barely anyone is playing this game. This morning, I sat in a lobby. I had pretty well everything active in my playlist. If you didn't know, when searching for a game in Titanfall 2, you can search for one specific game, or you can activate all of the game modes and search for all of the game modes at once, so that it's easier to get match made and find a lobby. I had every single, or nearly every single game mode active, and my estimated wait time to find a game was 9 minutes. I sat in that 9 minutes for 15 to 20 minutes, easy 15 to 20 minutes, and it still said 9 minutes. Finally, counter started going down, got through the quote-unquote 9 minutes, and it reset back to 9 minutes. So I finally left that lobby, turned off the game, turned off my whole console because I figured it was some kind of crash. I restarted the game, and I still waited for another 9 minutes before I found a game. That's why the gameplay isn't going to be so great today, because this was one of the only lobbies I could find in Titanfall 2. So clearly people aren't playing this game anymore. But why? What did Titanfall do right? What did Titanfall do wrong? Well, apart from maybe the matchmaking, even at this stage, there should be enough people to be matchmade into a lobby fairly quickly, not waiting 40 minutes to find a game. There are a couple pros in this game, but I'd more like to focus on the cons, just because creative criticism comes from things that are wrong with the game that can be worked on and improved in the future. Titanfall 2 did a great many things right, but there were some pretty big, like very noticeable cons in the game as well. The two pros I'd like to bring up are the story quality and the DLC. The story quality, I did a stream of the story for Titanfall 2. I really enjoyed the story mode. It was the first story mode for Respawn Entertainment since probably Call of Duty. Respawn Entertainment, if you didn't know, is mostly consist of people that used to be in the original Infinity Ward that worked on Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, two of my absolute favorite games of all time. Respawn Entertainment broke off from Infinity Ward and they started working on Titanfall. The original Titanfall was multiplayer only. There was no campaign in that game. So Titanfall 2 was their first big campaign away from the Call of Duty series, as far as I know. And it was good. The campaign was good. However, there is a con that's closely related to that, and that is the campaign was incredibly short. I think I finished it in 5 hours. And I was taking my time looking around, trying to find secrets and stuff. The campaign was incredibly short, and they definitely could have worked on it more. I know it's at its core a multiplayer shooter, and that's what people want to get into when they're playing Titanfall. But even still, a Call of Duty campaign is minimum 6 to 8 hours. I think the Infinite Warfare campaign was 7 hours, and some of the better campaigns in the Call of Duty franchise have been 8 hours plus. the Titanfall campaign was like 4 to 5 hours. If you sped run through the campaign, it would be like a 3.5 hour campaign if you skipped all the cutscenes and just went as fast as you could, and if you played it flawlessly. So that's incredibly short for a shooter, considering it won all these Best of E3 awards, and everyone was raving about how it's the greatest campaign ever and it's so revolutionary. It wasn't that different from your standard first-person shooter campaign, and it was way too short. But the other pro that I wanted to mention was the DLC. They did DLC very right with the Titanfall. With Titanfall 2, Respawn Entertainment is doing things right with their DLC. Free map packs, free weapons, free Titans, free everything. Everything was absolutely free when it came to DLC, except for cosmetic items which you could purchase. There were certain skins for your Titans, certain skins for your weapons, and those were overcharged to compensate for the DLC map packs not charging anything. But it was a way better system than anything with supply drops, than anything that Call of Duty has done in the longest time. Anything with map packs, supply drops, all that crap is no good for video games, and all the video games that are coming out recently, even single player games like Shadow of War, are starting to adopt that loot box mentality, and it's ruining video games. So Titanfall was phenomenal in terms of their DLC. The other cons that I wanted to mention in today's video shortly are just little nitpicky things in multiplayer. For example, the reliance on gimmicks. The grappling hook. It was way too mandatory in the game. If they were going to make the grapple hook mandatory, it should have been part of your class. It should have been a base ability. You shouldn't have to get rid of Stim or Cloak or AWOL to use the grappling hook, because it's so mandatory. You need it to get around the map. You need it to stay mobile. And so the grappling hook should have just been part of the class. It was kind of a waste to make it a tactical and then make all these other tacticals that no one is going to use because everyone needs the grappling hook. The awful weapon balance. Clearly, Respawn hasn't learned anything from Call of Duty 4. In Call of Duty 4, the M16 is the best gun in the entire game. There's no disputing that. In Titanfall 2, R201 is the best gun in the entire game. Some of those launchers are pretty powerful, but the R201 outplays everything in Titanfall 2. The weapon balance was terrible. Everyone was using the same weapon, especially now when there's very minimal players playing. Everyone knows to use the R201. If you use anything other than the R201, you're just going to die a lot. Sentry turrets. What can be said about pilot sentries besides they're fucking awful? And AI. I don't know why they incorporated AI into the multiplayer aspects of Titanfall. I know it was in the original Titanfall as well, but are we not past the point where we need computer enemies in our online matches as well? I'd love to hear what you guys think of Titanfall 2, your pros, your cons of the game. These are some of the things that I think they did right and wrong. Let me know in the comment section. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. And I'll probably catch you guys on the next one, though it won't be Titanfall 2. Unless something crazy happens with Titanfall 2, this will likely be the last video, unfortunately. So I'll catch you guys on the next one.